Welcome, everybody. We are live talking about the playoff reactions, everything you need to know, because there is quite a bit. We're going to talk about what we think of the reactions. We're going to talk about what Georgia does if we win the SEC, what happens if we lose the SEC, all next here on Locked On Bulldogs.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. We are talking about playoff reactions. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Game Time, download the Game Time app today or gametime.co. Thank you for being a first listener. Thank you for being an everydayer, and thank you for being a loyal third segment listener. If you're part of the Locked On podcast family, we appreciate you. Daniel's not here. He's feeling on the weather because Thanksgiving is real. Travel is real, but I got you. I'm carrying the load today for him. Locked On Bulldogs, your team every single day. And if you're part of that family, we appreciate it. This show is for fans, by fans. We are live over on YouTube. We are recording right now to come out as well over on the audio side. Get subscribed to both of those. Today, we are talking about none other than the playoff prediction machine that is. We still have some way to go on what that looks like. Some things are yet to be discovered, and those are conference championships. We're going to see if the committee is real, if they do just talk nonsense, or if they are sincere that conference championships will not hurt how you perform in the playoff ranking system. We'll see. I doubt it a little bit. I'm going to be totally honest with y'all. I think that we are going to see a lot of change depending on how the SEC championship goes, depending on how the other championship goes. I just don't believe the committee. They have been talking nonsense all year long. And I think the ACC has the biggest implications, what Clemson does. And we're going to talk about that. If Clemson wins and Georgia loses, somebody today told me, and I don't know if it's true or not, it's kind of crazy. Somebody told me today that that's actually a better path for Georgia to lose the SEC championship game, for Clemson to win, and for us to have a path. And I'm going to describe what that looks like and what those teams possibly are. But there's a lot to go down. Arizona State, SMU, Clemson, even teams that are on buys that aren't actually playing this week have already made noise. So let's just get to it. Let's talk about where Georgia is. And Georgia in the latest rankings comes in at 5. Now, this is very interesting to me. If you look at what Georgia has done, the body of work, it's been an up and down season. Truth be told, we dropped the most when we lost to a very bad team. And by the way, if you're over in the comments, I can see y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all the same thing. Look, okay, if Clemson wins, it's going to make chaos. So keep talking in the comments. Give some questions to what I'm saying. Push back on me. I'll interact with y'all. I love you here. So AP, appreciate you being here. I kind of want to see Clemson in, if I'm going to be honest. I don't want to see SMU in, because I think SMU gets boat raced by some folk. Just like I think if Alabama goes and plays Notre Dame, they're going to get boat raced by Notre Dame. And I don't have a high view of Notre Dame. That's wild to me. We're going to get to the fraudulent committee and the fraudulent Bama team, because there's no way they deserve to be in this playoff. They're not a good team, even though they beat us. I can say two things at once. We're famous for saying that. So Georgia comes in at number 5. They are here. And truth be told, I'm a little shocked at this. I was anticipating 6 for Georgia. We move up a little bit after that 8 overtime win against heated rival Georgia Tech, which we are on record of saying, Brent Key, please leave, go somewhere else, go to USC and coach over there, because you're going to be a problem for us. Georgia comes in at 5. The SEC championship, if Georgia wins, I don't see a world in which Texas drops below 5. I think they're going to be right there at 5. And that is seeding wise, not just ranking wise. I think they're going to be the 5th seed, because the 4 championship conference champions are going to get those buys if Georgia wins. And I do anticipate Georgia will win. This just in, I am taking Georgia to win the SEC championship. And let me start with the reaction there. Bama's in 100% right now. Billy Boy, Bama's in regardless. I tried to tell you all before the season, all Bama had to do was lose no more than 3 games, and they were guaranteed a spot, because the committee likes money. And the SEC and Bama means money. There was no way they were going to be left out of it. AP says, here's the thing that needs to change next year. Conference champions can't get a bye in the first round. We're going to go to where there's 2 buys. I think number 1 and number 2 seed will get buys. I think we're going to expand next year. They're already talking about it. I think we're going to add a couple more teams, and only 1 and 2 will get by. Nobody else will, because Boise getting a bye is a joke. 100% agree with you. It's fraudulent that Boise State is going to get a bye in this. ACC championship, getting a bye, those sorts of things shouldn't go. I know Ohio State is a bad team and got embarrassed by Michigan, which go Big Blue. There's just no way that can be the setup going forward. So I agree with you, AP. Those things have to change. They're already talking about adding teams, so it will happen. But Georgia comes in, and I think Texas doesn't drop more than the 50. They'll have a home game at Austin, and they'll have a pretty favorable lineup as they're going through the college football playoff. But some things that shocked me, besides Georgia at 5, which it doesn't really matter. The SEC championship is going to take care of that. Notre Dame being at 4, really unique to me. Notre Dame hasn't played anybody. They looked real good against USC, and I was on this podcast last week talking USC hates Notre Dame, like straight up hates Notre Dame. Being from the West Coast and knowing that a little bit, that's a real rivalry game for them. It was much more. Lincoln Riley should not still be coaching at USC. I don't know why he's still there, but apparently they like him. A couple other things that shocked me in this: Ohio State not falling fast enough. That loss against Michigan with the best offensive and best defensive players out for Michigan should have made you fall in more than 6. Georgia fell far more. Doesn't even AP says Notre Dame doesn't have a ranked win. A&M, yeah, and A&M does not look good. Didn't look good against Texas, which we're going to get to here in a second. Why I'm so confident in Georgia in the SEC championship game. Some other teams that shouldn't be in the playoff: Indiana is fraudulent. SMU is fraudulent. Again, if you're going just based upon record, Army should be in here. They're not, because they don't look good. They haven't played anybody. Arizona State, this is not a joke. Arizona State's a really good team with a running back and an offensive line that feels some juice. And if Scadaboo gets going, watch out. I could see if somehow the rankings were that Alabama was playing Arizona State, watch out for that too. I mean, Arizona State has a real shot of making noise, and I do anticipate them getting through the first round. But I do anticipate Georgia being number 2. They're going to win the SEC championship, and here's why. Let me give you the quick preview. Texas hasn't improved as the season has gone on. Like, that hasn't happened for Texas. The only one that's improved is Wisner. This just in, the offensive line that looked horrible against Georgia in Austin didn't have a clue what was going on. I was told the best offensive line in the entire nation, which it didn't look like that night, might be out their left tackle for this game. Hurt in the A&M game. Who knows what he's going to do for the SEC championship. If he's gone in this game, if they don't have their starting left tackle, and this is what I said leading up to this, the early preview we gave yesterday, Daniel and I, if they want to sit back with Quinn Ewers and Steve Sarkisian wants to try to run 35 times with Wisner, which I think is a great setup. I just got done doing the SEC squad show in which Texas, Jonathan Davis tells me, yeah, let's play keep away from Georgia. That's what every team has tried. That's what Georgia Tech has tried. That's what Kentucky has tried. Alabama tried doing that in the second half of the game. Tennessee, to a certain degree, tried to. And every single time that's happened, and Carson Beck, who in the last 3-4 games has 0 interceptions, all them touchdowns, you try to play keep away from Georgia, and you give them Brent Key, Georgia Tech, 8 overtimes. We didn't score a single point in the first half, and it felt like we had one possession for 3 minutes because some guy wearing 11 can't catch a pass. You do that, you're going to lose because Carson Beck's on point, and Mike Bobo, even though he called his worst game against Georgia Tech, did just fine to win in this situation. So if Texas wants to come out and try to do that, I'm here for it. Now, if they start somebody else besides Quinn Ewers, if Arch Manning comes in and he's not inside the 20, I don't feel great about that, y'all. I'm just telling you right now, Arch Manning plays, I feel so bad. Yeah, Notre Dame, Billy Boy, I agree with you. 0 top 25 wins, 79th hardest schedule. Notre Dame, I think, can boat race Bama. I really do, but I don't think they get past the second round in the situation. Hey, we're going to be live. Keep in the comments going, Billy Boy, AP, all the rest of y'all. We love y'all. Keep talking to us. Keep chatting with us. We're going to be back right after this as soon as we pay some bills. And that's Game Time, gametime.co, Game Time app. Download it now. Here's what happens in the Game Time app and Game Time CO. If you need tickets anywhere, you need tickets to any sporting event, any concert event, anywhere on the planet, you go ahead. Game Time's going to get you in there. They're going to be the cheapest. They're going to be the best. They have a safety guarantee. If you find tickets elsewhere that are cheaper, guess what? They're going to take care of you 110% of the difference as well as having view from your seats, wherever that is, and you put the slider over on it. It's going to give you upfront pricing, meaning you don't have to wait till checkout with a 15-minute window counting you down, forcing you to make a decision. They're going to give you all in pricing straight up front. It's fantastic. Daniel and I, whenever we go to games, we want to sit in the stands. Game Time is the place we go to. You should get over right now. Locked On College for $20 off. Terms apply, but right now you get over there, put in Locked On College, first purchase, $20 off. Terms apply. GameTime.co. Get in the game. All right, y'all, we are back talking Georgia football ranking reaction. We gave you why a little bit of a sneak preview of why I think Georgia wins the SEC championship, gets that second seed in there. I'm going to catch up on some comments right now. Yeah, computers do love Notre Dame. Game depends on Bobo. If he calls a typical game, we could easily lose. I actually think he's going to be just fine cooking. Get ready for screens because that's an extension of the run. Roderick Robinson changes this offense. Nate Frazier is the more talented player. Okay, right now. Roderick Robinson changes this offense. 240 and runs like he's 170. He completely checks it out. If SMU loses, are they still in over Bama? I think SMU and Bama are locks for this playoff. I'm going to run down what I think is going to happen, but I think they're absolute locks. And then AP says the committee is just showing everyone that it's all about money. I agree, AP. This is, I said before the season, Bama gets in if they don't lose 4 games. If they lose 3, they're going to be in. They're going to sneak in. They could make some noise, but everybody clamoring for an expanded playoff. And this happened when we go out of bounds and we don't stop the clock and we have more commercials. You knew right then college football was all about the money. When they added more commercials and took away game time from us, it was all about the money. Always is, always will be. Okay, I'm going to talk about the SMU. Rod is a heck of a pass blocker. The dude is just giant back there. He's like an H-back that runs like a running back, that runs like, quite frankly, Dwight Phillips. It's remarkable. I think he does change the complete complexion of our offense. Okay, SMU right now, computers have them winning the conference championship. I don't see how. I mean, in all honesty, I think Clemson comes out and wins. I know Clemson, South Carolina is a dang good club, y'all. Like Sellers next year, give me Heisman odds right now. Sellers is a real deal. He doesn't get hurt. He doesn't come down with a couple of things early on in the season. I think they have one less loss somewhere, not even the LSU penalty game. I think a lot changes for South Carolina. So Clemson is a good squad that lost to a very good team in South Carolina. I think SMU has not played anybody really recently. And if I remember early on in the season against Nevada, SMU looked not great going to Nevada. It wasn't a good look for them. They figured out the quarterback situation, which really did change a lot of things for them. Their offense is good. I don't know if their defense can stand up. Of course, they got a shot, but I just think Clemson's got enough dudes and has enough run game to take away the clock, and their defensive line is still dang good. So I actually think Clemson is in right now. That's not what the playoff prediction has. I think Arizona State wins, so they're in. I think Boise State Boise State's going to be in. Arizona State sneaks into this as well. They're in the 12th seed against Bama. Hunger Dog says praying for Clemson to win because Bama doesn't deserve to get in. That's the one scenario that things change. One thing that changes is Clemson wins. Bama does fall out because of how conference locks work in that situation. So let's take it from the other end. Let's take it from Clint, slow down and take a breath. Where's Daniel? Well, I can't. I got too much to catch up on. Daniel's sick, and I talk like this all the time. If Daniel wasn't talking so much, you would hear me talk this way. That was a jab at him. I hope he's watching. He's sick today. Here's where it comes. Georgia, let's say we win. We're in. We go to the 2 seed. I don't think we jump anywhere else. I think Oregon's going to win. They're going to have the 1 seed. Penn State's not a good school. I think they're going to be fine. So what does the 2 seed get us? Now, the 2 seed is a really, really interesting pull because right now, Indiana is ranked in that 10, right? So Indiana, fraudulent team. I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Cignetti, good coach, should win coach of the year. Indiana don't got the dudes. So even in the case that Georgia loses, we're going to talk about where they would fall in that case, which is a joke to me. They get the 2 seed, Indiana right now slotted. Now, the bummer news about this is if we get the 2 seed, that also means Alabama with an SMU win. Alabama's sitting there at 11. And that's where they play Notre Dame. If they get past there and they get past SMU, Y'all know the story. It's the Crimson Tide. For some stupid reason, Milroe looks like an absolute giant against Georgia. Why? Why in the world does he look like an absolute giant against us? I will never understand that in my entire life. I will tell Daniel to take some of Grandpa's cough medicine and get back on AP. I'll let him know right now. I'll text him. He did not sound great when I was on the phone with him earlier. But if we get to Alabama in the down the road in the bracket, guys, I just gotta say, I don't feel great about it. Alabama's a fraudulent team. They don't deserve the playoff. They don't deserve to get in. But my gosh, for whatever reason, we see the Crimson Red and we just absolutely defecate the bed. And it's foolish and it's stupid. And I hate every single moment of it. But Bama has our number and I don't want to play them. There's a couple teams I don't want to play until the championship. Bama and Oregon. Bama does suck. I agree with you. But for some reason, they got a number. Apparently, again, Carson Beck just turns into a quarterback midget. And everything else. And our defense can't stop Milroe on the outside. Oklahoma can stop them. We can't stop them. I don't want to face Oregon. I don't want to face Bama. I'm fine facing Ohio State. I'm fine playing Tennessee again. Arizona State, I'm fine with too, because they're going to try to play keep away. The teams that give us fits are the team that actually, Thomas, you want to play Bama. Oh, good on you, man. Like, I don't. We own Oregon. I really don't think we do. I don't know who they played yet. They played Ohio State, and Ohio State looked fraudulent against Michigan. I don't know if I want to play them. But if we win, we get the 2 seed, Indiana, Alabama. And then beyond that, look, we get to the semifinals and the final. It's all bets off at that point. But it's a fine. The 2 seed is far better than the 1 seed. The 1 seed here, let me just tell you what Oregon has to go through. And I don't think we're going to get the 1 seed. I don't think we jump. Oregon wins. They win. There's not a chance in the world we beat Texas. We jump anybody for the 1 seed unless the committee is just full of themselves. The 1 seed has to play the winner of Ohio State, Tennessee. That's a far, far harder matchup than Indiana right now. And then you got to play winner of Boise State, Penn State. Okay, that might be the case. But let's just say hypothetically, we're going to get to in the next segment, what if we lose? What if we drop down? Bama would move up if the case that Clemson wins, like a lot of us are suggesting. AP says Bama, Texas, and Oregon are realistically the only teams that can beat Georgia. I think I agree with that. And I think Texas, if they do want to play their game plan they did in Austin, we beat again because Carson Beck is on point and our defense isn't going to show up like we did then, but we're going to be fine. We win the game. The 2 seeds just fine with us. We still have a very clear path against beatable opponents all the way true. I'm really, really fine with that. The other teams have far harder schedules. And we're going to talk about somebody, again, told me today, we lose the SEC championship. It's going to be better for us because they anticipate Clemson winning. And what does that look like? We're going to come back after this, after I pay some bills. And I'm going to walk through what happens if we get blown out. What happens if we just get absolutely crushed by Texas? It's 35-10 and we look fraudulent. Committee has said, Thomas says UGA 41, Tex-Mex 17. I don't think it's going to be that score, but it's going to be closer than that. I'm going to talk about what if we just absolutely don't show up in the SEC? Because Atlanta, y'all remember some of those games that we played. It's not going to be great. What happens when we get blown out? Where do we sit? What does the committee do with us? I can't believe them. I can't trust them. And I'm going to tell you why you shouldn't trust them right after this. But first, it's FanDuel, FanDuel.com. Get over there right now. Every single time Daniel and I give you locks, which you do every single week, we have a bunch of conference locks. A couple of these lines are really, really juicy. There's a 1.5, 2.5, 3.5 point spread in a lot of these games. We got locks for you. Daniel's going to be back. We're going to record that. We're going to get after it. Go to FanDuel.com. It's the only place Daniel and I trust to make all these bets. Official sportsbook of Locked On Bulldogs, official sportsbook of Locked On Podcasts everywhere. And right now, you make a $5 bet. You win that $5 bet. You get $150 in bonus bets straight to your account. It's beautiful. It's fantastic. Safe, effective, easy. Payouts are quick. And right now, $5 bet, you win. You get $150 in bonus bets straight to your account. FanDuel.com. Make every moment more. All right, y'all, let me catch up on the comments really quick. Bama doesn't deserve to be in, plain and simple. UGA Remy, I agree with you. They don't deserve. They're not one of the top 12 teams in the nation right now. There are far more deserving teams behind them, notably Ole Miss. Ole Miss deserves to get in ahead of Alabama, hands down. The worst loss in the season is not Ole Miss to Kentucky, because at that point, Kentucky was actually doing some things. Like, Kentucky had a defense that was doing some things. And I think Brock Vandegrift showed out that he was holding back that entire team for the most part, getting benched for somebody else. I think the loss to Oklahoma at the end of the season for Bama comes out down the stretch, loses steam right when I think South Carolina, Ole Miss should get in above Bama. It was a bad look. That was the worst loss of the season so far. To me, Oklahoma had no passing offense. I think Arnold passed for 68 yards that game, but he looked like Cam Newton running through people. The defense looked horrible. The offense looked horrible. Milrose, 6 interceptions. And the past couple games for them, they're completely fraudulent. Hunker Down says, what I don't understand, the lowest someone has fallen after losing unranked team has been 5-6. Ohio loses 6-5. Michigan only falls 4 spots. What is again, this is why the committee's fraudulent. They try to tell us what is involved in it, but they can't. They can't just tell me definitively why it is. Fowler says, I believe the Dogs in Texas will be closer this time, but Beck playing like he is, amen. Jackson gets to the quarterback a couple times, will make a difference. The game's going to hinge on Jalen Walker and Michael Williams getting back over to Quinn Ewers. If that happens, we win. Hands down. I hate the committee too, Thomas, by the way. We get to the quarterback and Arch Manning doesn't play 100%. Hit the like button for Clint. Also, if you think Daniel's being soft, being sick, AP, I'm going to screenshot that and send it to him. Okay, let's say we get blown out. I actually think there's a world. We don't. If we beat Texas, Texas goes to 5. I don't think they go to 6. I think they go to 4 or 5, meaning they get the 5th seed, regardless if they're 4 or 5. We lose. I think we do drop down. I think maybe either SMU, if they win, they clearly rank ahead of us, but some teams fall down in that order. I think Boise State, Arizona State. I think we go to 6, just as far as not just ranking, but as seeding. I think we're 6th in the rankings, in the seedings, which means we'd play 11. At that point, I think Alabama does move up a little bit. But there's a case in which we could play, hypothetically, how things are playing out in this bracket. You give me a path where SMU and Boise State are on the same wavelength. Somebody else mentioned earlier, I think SMU gets in regardless if Clemson loses or not, or wins or not. I think there's a strong chance of SMU getting in if the committee is sincere that losing the conference championship doesn't mean anything. Now, so far, they've told us eyeball tests. They've told us a whole lot of stuff that hasn't rang true. But if that is true and SMU is in and Clemson is in, I think there's a chance we start the playoff. I think we host a home playoff game in Athens in which ticket prices will be astronomical. So if you have some and you get some, don't resell them. Go to the game. It's absolutely fantastic. Eric says, do you think there's any chance Texas beats us that we are out in the entire playoffs? I don't with the 5th ranking. I think we would, in that case, we would beat out an Alabama team. I think that's almost a guarantee. And if Alabama's in right now, we lose to Texas in the SEC. I don't think they're going to put Bama ahead of us. In that case, they're going to get the cachet. They're going to get the helmet. They're going to get the SEC bias. In that case, I don't think we fall out of the playoff, even if we get blown out. Bama, that in that case would. But we lose, we get blown out. We might go to 6. We host a playoff game. There's a chance we host SMU. Clemson wins, which, yes, please. There's a chance we play Boise State if all of this works out, 6 or 7 seed. And there's a chance the worst game that we play is Penn State. The worst matchup that is for us is Penn State, which we're about to see who they are. They sneak into the conference championship game, and we're about to see who Penn State is. Yeah, I know, Eric, we would have 3 losses, but I think the difference, and this is the one time the committee has actually, if the committee isn't true about this, the playoff bracket looks totally different. And he was asked straight up, the chairman was asked, can things change? And he basically said, not really. He hummed and hawed, and if you look through it, he was asked by Reese Davis, does this change come Saturday, come all of these conference championship games? And he said, no, we're kind of set. Now, I think what he was meaning, outside of complete chaos, Bama's in. The top 12 teams are the top 12 teams is what he was saying. And just the ordering kind of changes after that. But I don't think there's a chance in heck that we're going to be punished for an extra game. So at that point, it's like to try to make it equivalent to Bama. Bama would have to take a tie at like a third column with a 1, or they'd have to take another loss. Let's say hypothetically, okay, yeah, sure, they beat Georgia, but Georgia losing against Texas, the number 2, 3, 4 team all year long, essentially. HB Career says, I don't really understand the point of even having playoffs rankings until after this weekend. It's futile undertaking. We agree. We've said for years, we don't care about anything until this week. Now it changes because just like Texas, I just said, Texas is not a good team, but they started so dang high. They didn't have a schedule. They didn't play anybody. Their one actual contested game against Georgia, they get smoked at home. They don't drop that much. They win a couple more games against nobody teams. They struggle a couple of times, come down to 1 yard from being, I'm not saying beaten, but a closer game at College Station. It didn't look good for them, but they never fell out of the top 5. It was just a joke all year long. So it does matter where you're ranked because you can kind of coast all the way throughout the season. I think Georgia's in regardless. The path, if we lose Boise State against a team like Indiana, SMU, our matchups are a little bit more favorable. Now, here's why I don't think Hunker Down says if Georgia or Texas loses the championship game, the committee drops 1. Sankey will pull out. Look, Greg Sankey, he can go kick some rocks. I don't like how Sankey has done anything this year with the SEC. I don't think he's done us any favors, and I don't think he has really, really helped out Georgia a great deal. And I don't think he's helped out the SEC much, to be honest with you. I think his politicking and positioning with the committee and with a couple decisions on the scheduling. Oh my gosh, talk about wanting Texas to be here. It's been so bad. Eric says Texas only played 2 opponents that had winning records. Yep, 100%. There's no chance UGA or Texas drops out. I agree with you, AP. I think that's the case. But here's why I really, really, really want somebody else, even this week on X, said we should rest some players for the SEC championship game, get them ready for the playoff run. No. Having a game December 7th and then playing the only game again December 31st or January 1st is the biggest benefit to this whole entire playoff run. We lose the SEC. We play December 7th, and then we have to play December 21st or 22nd. And that is a horrible, horrible setup. It's sure 2 weeks later, but it doesn't give you a chance whatsoever to get healthy and get whole. Being healthy and whole for this playoff run is the most important part. And we are on the cusp of possibly getting Colby Young back. He is practicing with the team. He is back getting reps. We are possibly getting Etienne back. Is there a world in which Georgia would actually be a better position in playoffs if they lost to Texas? Anna, that's what I'm saying right now. By the way, Anna, fantastic. I didn't call you dumb over the other day, Anna. You had a cup of coffee. You're fantastic. We love having you here. I was calling myself dumb. I do not think I would rather have days off until the 31st and the 1st, and we get to watch. Hunker says we need to get rest and healthy, point blank. I think you're exactly right. Give me Etienne back. His is a pain threshold. Anna, we're all done. That's true. We're fans of college football. We need to get Etienne back, have him healthy. We need Carson Beck getting tons of reps with wide receivers and them getting healthy. We need Anthony Evans healthy. Y'all, Anthony Evans needs to get healthy and right. He is not 100%, and we need him 100%. We need Dumas, Smile Mondin. I was just thinking Dumas Johnson because somebody asked me about Julian Humphreys, who's in the portal right now. We need those guys healthy and whole back. We need our defensive line back 100%. Eric says, do you think if Clemson defeats SMU for the ACC title, select SMU over Alabama? There's a Clemson getting in is the only chance Bama gets out. Clemson winning the championship is the only way that Bama gets kicked out, and it would take the committee really, 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 really liking that game. If it's like a 30 to 31, 33 game in the ACC championship game, I could see SMU and Clemson both getting in that case, Bama being kicked out. Thomas, we do need to win. I don't want to hear anything else. Root hard and fast and loud in the bins. If you guys are going, get up for that game. We need all them dogs there. We need healthy, whole people. And I want to play a first round bye in which I am watching other people play instead of playing myself so that we can take all sorts of notes. Kirby does so well with extra time against an opponent that he knows. It's so remarkable what he's able to do. Defensive line, wide receiver, and running back are the most needed, healthy positions we get back. And if that's the case, come on, y'all. So we are firmly in position. I anticipate a game 28-31. Dogs is what I say. Let's hope cornerbacks don't get hurt. AP, here's the deal. Ellis Robinson the fourth is ready to go right now. And last one, 225 girl. Having Monroe play left spot has really helped. Monroe Freeling's the best lineman we have. And before the season, I wouldn't have said that. He changes the dynamic. Talk about somebody else that wasn't there for the Tex game. Monroe Freeling changes the dynamic of our run game. If you watch him in run blocking, I know pass sets, he does incredible at the left side, but run blocking, oh my goodness. He gets road grading after that action. I love Monroe Freeling. He's one of my favorite players on this entire team. Hey, y'all, we're going to be back tomorrow. Daniel should be here with me. We're going to do an episode where we talk about Texas, get into a little bit more, maybe even talk about the basketball dogs who put a whooping on Notre Dame tonight, which was fantastic to see as well. But come on back for that. This is Locked On Bulldogs, your team every single day. We love having you all here, and we will see you guys next time. Be well.